All right, everybody, I might be late to the party, but I still want to talk about something that Utah did, the University of Utah did here in December of 2025, and that's coming up right after this. Hi everybody, welcome back to Just Justin. I am Justin, and yes, I'm going to be talking about something that the University of Utah did here on December the 9th of 2025. Okay, so the university made history by becoming the first major university to partner with a private equity firm to fund their athletic department. Okay, so it is partnership with a New York-based Otro Capital, and it's expected to generate up to $500 million in capital, and it could reshape how college athletics are funded in the future. Is that really the direction we want to go? Now, this is all my opinion. I got some facts and stuff like that from sources and stuff like that, but most of it's going to be my opinion, okay? So, the Utah Board of Trustees approved the creation of Utah Brands and Entertainment, LLC. That's a for-profit equity that will manage the commercial side of the Utes athletics. Okay, so you have to think, this is not just another fundraising opportunity like, the football players are out selling Krispy Kreme cards or, stuff like that. No, they're not doing that. Okay, this is a complete reimagination of how public universities can compete in the new era of college sports. Okay, so let's break down the structure of this private equity deal of worth $500 million. Okay, so the Utah Brands and Entertainment LLC will operate as for-profit company with a unique ownership structure. So the majority owner will be, of course, the University of Utah Foundation. That means that it will retain the full decision-making authority. So the other stakeholders are Otro Capital, and that will provide the capital and operational expertise. And then you have the additional investors. So like, say, if I want to donate $10 to $15 million to the University of Utah, I will have some equity stakes in that. Okay, so they say that this equity deal will bring more money for the school, for sponsorships and partnerships and stuff like that. You'll be able to come in. Ticketing concessions, unfortunately, there's going to be an increase in that. Media production and broadcasting. Now, they have to up the game for media production and broadcasting. Now, the school down south has an awesome production and broadcasting capabilities. Maybe they'll get up to that kind of par here. Not sure, okay? Licensing and trademark opportunities. That means just more money. Hospitality services. Now, when I think of hospitality, I'm thinking of hotels. Are they going to have their own hotel so that the visiting teams can stay in that hotel? I don't know. Or maybe they'll just be better hostess. Hospitality means that they'll provide more ability to host different schools to come to the University of Utah. Okay? And a revenue share payments to student athletes. Okay? NIL is where it's at, right? So it's all about the Benjamins to me, okay? If you're thinking, Justin, what's a Benjamin? What are you talking about all about the Benjamins? Well, if you look at a $100 bill, it has Benjamin Franklin on it, all about the Benjamins, okay? So the total capital infusion will be $500 million, and plus, it could go up higher. Orto's investment direct investment will be about $400 million plus, and then I can purchase funding. I can purchase equity stakes into this investment group, and that'll be additional funding for the University of Utah. I'm not going to do that, but okay. So this represents one of the largest capital injections into sports, college athletics right now. Okay, and it positions Utah to compete financially with programs in wealthier conferences like the SEC or the Big Ten. Okay? Yeah, they might want to see if they can compete athletical in those divisions as well. It doesn't matter if you have money. It means if you have the athletic capabilities, right? Okay? So this is all my opinion, okay? And it all has to do with the financial spending for the school. Okay, they are suffering a deficit in the realm of athletic spending versus revenue. Okay, so in my opinion, they need a lot of help because the Huntsman Center is usually not crowded at all. I think there's more people there for gymnastics than there are for men's basketball. Don't count me. Don't quote me on that. That's just my opinion, okay? So let's go by the numbers, though. Okay, in the year 23 to 24, athletic spending was $126.8 million. Revenue for that same time period was $109.8 million. And that was a $17 million deficit, which is roughly about 15.8%. Okay, so where did this revenue come from? All right, 26 plus $26.8 million, or more, came from football. Okay, football. Men's basketball, $2.6 million. All other sports, there's 17 other programs, and they had $21.2 million. Okay, so yeah, there's a little bit difference, plus or minus, depending on, I guess, the year or whatever, But $109 million in revenue, yeah, needs to be stepped up a little bit, okay? All right, so there's a few things that came across that made this this equity deal come across, okay? You could say that the storm was perfect, all coming together. Okay, so there was a House first NCAA settlement. That means that schools can pay up to $20.5 million annually with their student athletes, okay, which is basically NIL. The transfer portal, now that is a nightmare. Those costs increase because players can say, you know what, I'm going to go over to that school because they're going to offer me $1 million instead of $500,000 to play. So those costs goes up, okay? And if you're looking at the Big 12 media revenue, it significantly trails the SEC and the Big 10. Yes, we are lagging behind in the Big 12, and I think the commissioner has something to do with that, and he's got to step it up, in my opinion, okay? Then the facilities, yes. If you want more revenue or you want more fans to show up, you better have good facilities to show for it, okay? Oh, and have good sports teams, then facilities will be packed and more money, right? And they didn't want to increase the student fees. Right now, all the students pay approximately about $165.38 per year for athletics fees. Now, if I go to the University of Utah and I could care less about the sports or about that big old huge NIL player coming in to boost up the sports programs, and they're getting like $1 million, and I'm barely struggling to get by, feeding my family or going to school, scraping by. And here we're paying, I don't think I would want my fees to go up to pay for something that I don't support. Okay? So that's, where this kind of is a pain in the butt. Now, Ordo. Let's talk about Ordo. Okay, it was founded in 2023. Okay? And it was by former Redbird Capital Partners executives, okay? So we have Alec Snyder. He was the former president of the NFL's Cleveland Browns from the year 2013 to 2016. Brent Sterlick, he was a former Browns executive. And then we have Narajai Sarah. He's a co-founder with Redbird background. Okay, so they have investments in Alpine Racing, Formula One, Two Circles. That's a fan and data analysis platform. Fluxworks Sports is an athletic youth-based driven division. And they have somewhere total assets under about $839 million. Okay, so it's not big like some of these pension funds out there, who are worth billions and billions of dollars. Yeah, they're growing. Okay, so, and here's an interesting fact. The great state of California, they have their public pension fund. They invested $250 million into Ordo. Okay, so it's unclear if this $250 million will go to support this Utah deal, but it's interesting that the state of California is risking their personal or their public pension funds into this private equity firm. Yeah, you could grow your money in a private equity firm. Yeah, those, if you do, they're making some good money. But if you lose the money, then who suffers? The people, right? Okay, so who manages what? So Utah retains all coaching decisions, player, personal, and roster management, scheduling and game operations, compliance and NCAA stat matters, student-athlete welfare programs. Okay? So what changes? Well, the commercial operations move to the Utah Brands and Entertainment, LLC. Ordo brings the operational expertise and the industry connections. And the external president will run the day-to-day business operations. Okay? So, the board will consist of Mark Harlan, the Utah Athletic Director. He'll be the president. And then they'll have some seats will be for the University of Utah, and some seats will be for Otro Capital members and for high potential for donations. Like if I donate enough money, I could be on that board. I probably won't, but so yeah. But we'll finish up a little bit here. Then I'll talk about more about my opinion. Okay, so they have a 5 to 7 year partnership timeline. Utah can buy out the Orto's ownership stake at any time. But if they're struggling, how the heck are they going to come up with the money to buy them out? Okay. They'll also have to have annual audits and transparency reports. And they have a shared risk between university and Ordo. Okay. So there's been a lot of different types of responses. Some are glowing like, oh, University of Utah is going to be the best ever. This is going to be the right decision. But, there's other, some are really like saying this might be bad and stuff like that. Let's just break down a little bit of them. NCAA President Charlie Baker called the deal really well thought out and really well designed, praising that decision-making stays with the athletic department for now. The university leaders emphasizes the risk of inaction. As President Randall noted, there's equal risk of actually not doing anything. Okay, so some business experts are out there saying this is inevitable evolution. Taylor Noddle, he's from BYU's Marriott School of Business, suggested it could benefit taxpayers if it reduces public subsidies to athletics. Highly doubt that. Taxpayers will get stuck with it a lot. So there's some critical concerns out there, like the ESPN's Dan Wetzel. He warned that everyone should be concerned, not just about Utah, but across college athletics. He highlighted that private equity typically focuses on profitable divisions, potentially threatening Olympic sports. And so, it's all about your thought methods and stuff like that. And let's talk about a couple different things here, okay? So, conference level deals. So there's been a couple conference levels out there who've been thinking of doing this. Big Ten discussed it, a $2.4 billion deal. However, that stalled due to Michigan and USC opposing it. Big 12, Brett Yormark has twice presented capital deals to presidents. Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. Okay. Florida State, they were among the first to consider this PE investment. Utah beat them to actually implementing it. Michigan State created a holding company with a $401 million donation. Not a private equity, but someone donated $401 million to that holding company. Kentucky established a private revenue-generating entity, and Clemson formed a holding company structure. Okay? So there is a lot of stuff for this private equity deal, and that is all you can find out a lot more about on my website, and that'll be down in the description. So, let's get down to it. Leave your comments down below. Okay, what are you thinking about this Utah private equity deal? Are you thinking it's a good thing? Are you thinking it's a bad thing? I don't know. What do you think? Okay? Will it cause problems if the University of Utah does not bring back the revenue? Because there's a lot of private equity firms. They're all about money. Okay? And if something's not bringing in money, they're going to change. Believe me, I know. Okay? So, what are you thinking? Is this a risky move for the University of Utah? Is it a good move? I don't know. Why don't you leave your comments down below? Tell me what you think. We can get a discussion going and be talking about this. So that is it for this video. University of Utah does a private equity deal with Otro Capital, upwards of $500 million plus. Is it a good thing or a bad thing? All right. So this channel is all about me, Just Justin. Okay, so there's not a certain niche on here. Yeah, I've been talking about sports lately, and I've talked about football, Super Bowl, BYU, Valentine's Day. But this is like a no niche channel. I will talk about things that interest me. Okay, I do have a lot of thoughts I have out there. I've done a lot of videos, but I'm not sure if I want to share those videos with you or not, because it just shows you the weird side of me and what I go through on a daily basis of thinking and stuff like that. So, leave a comment down below, like this video, subscribe to the channel, hit that bell notification so you can be notified of any time I post a video here on Just Justin. So next week, I will give my opinion on Kyle Whittingham's departure from the University of Utah. Is the private equity part of that issue? How about we find out in the next video? All right, guys. Appreciate you guys stopping by and watching it. And until the next one, I will see you later. Bye. Probably turned into like the last Boy Scout with Bruce Willis.